even if somebody else doesn't appreciate what you do for them, that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. Because sharing love makes you a loving person. It will make your life easier. Even if somebody else doesn't appreciate that, you will be happier yourself. Hi, Thomas.
Santa, it's ridiculous. My friends, this episode of Car Seats and Coffee, I am live right now. Santa, do I call you Santa, Mr. Claus? Like, I'm nervous.
Whatever makes you feel comfortable. You can call me Nick, Chris.
I'm on a first name
Santa.
basis right now with Santa people. Like, this is a big deal. Nick. See, it seems weird. It seems weird. But you're so open and kind and loving that I feel like I can do it.
Yeah.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Live with Nick. Santa. See, I just go right. I just go to it. So I'm gonna.
That's fine.
So, Santa, we had the opportunity to speak a little bit before all this when we were talking, and I was talking with some of your people, and finally got a hold of you, which is out of control. I asked you the question of what value can we supply to the dads? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, you don't have any children yourself, right?
That's correct. And on top of that, I was an orphan. And so I never grew up with a traditional family of any kind. I didn't have a father and mother like lots of kids do. I also don't have any children of my own. I was raised by magical creatures, forest creatures, that gave me the powers that I have, and that was a great blessing for me because it allowed me an opportunity to reach out to the world and to give back to people, to give something to them, especially those that are in need. And so even though I don't have any children, I've taken it upon myself to act as a sort of father figure to all children of the world.
So, for some of the dads that are listening right now, especially the ones that are soon to be fathers, like, how did you learn to just come up with that much love for these children that aren't even yours?
That's a good question. How did I learn that? How is love learned? I'm not sure I know how to answer that. I just love them. I don't think about. I think sometimes people get caught up in the specifics of relationships. I mean, what does it matter whether the child is mine or not? What does it even mean to be mine? People are people, and we should love each other. And so I do. I love everybody, and I just embrace and accept that love, and it doesn't make a difference who anybody is. Just do it. And if there are hard times and you hit points where maybe you're angry or frustrated, that happens, and you just choose love and move forward with that.
So that leads me to this love creates also magic, right? So,
yeah, I think those words are synonymous.
So would you say that you get more magic with the belief that the children have for you, or the love that they have for you?
I'm not sure I understand the difference. I think belief and love, again, are almost synonymous. If you believe in somebody, it's because you love them. If you love them, you believe in them. I mean, love your children, you believe in their hopes and goals and dreams. And on the flip side, as a child, when you believe your parents, you believe in them, it's because you love them. And you love them because you believe them. I mean, you kind of have to have one with the other. You can't, if you don't love somebody, you can't believe in what they are or what their goals are, what they're going to achieve. You have to love them to believe them, and vice versa. And so, yeah, the children of the world that believe in me, it's because they love me, and I love them in return, and I believe in them, and that's why I want to share that love and that belief in each other. I mean, we have to believe in each other and believe that good can happen and that we can share that good around the world. It's when you stop believing in your fellow human that things start falling apart. When you stop believing in care, stop believing in the magic that really is around us all the time. That's when you allow, I don't know, the darkness, the sadness to creep in that is perpetuated in the world sometimes. And so you have to believe in that magic and that love in order to share it and to be a part of it.
All right, dads. if there's nothing else gained from this, that in itself was such a gift, and I just want to say thank you for that. That was awesome, because that is the truth. And I think as dads, it's imperative that we create an environment, an openness, a space for our kids to believe and love us.
Yeah.
So a lot of people get caught up, Santa, with the notion of presence and the
Right.
notion that more presence equals love.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that?
I didn't coin this phrase, but it's not about the presence, it's about the presence. Even though I like to give gifts, it's my way of showing people that I'm around. And even though I can't be with you, I can give a little part of me in order to let you know that I am around. As parents, the most important thing that we can do for our children is to be there with them and to let them know that time is a gift. And sometimes you can give actual presents to people, and that can be important to them. But it's so much more than that. I mean, a present should not be a present for itself. It should be a representation of the love that you have for that person. And that is the point of giving a gift, is to give a piece of yourself, a piece of your love to that person in a physical form.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, we talked about that offline as well. Some people didn't grow up having great holiday seasons, especially around your time of year. Everyone knows who your time of year is with the Christmas season. Why do you think it's important, though, for us dads, and I mean, let's be honest, we're all parents out there, to try to create more of those memories and presence, like with their children?
Well, I talk about these maybe toys or gifts being something physical that the kids can hold on to, but it's the idea behind it that they will actually retain forever. Toys break or get lost, and they're going to disappear over time. But those memories and that emotion of that time is what develops a person into who they are. And so it's important to spend that time with them and to give that gift to them, because that's going to last forever. The feelings that we had, good or bad, as a child, especially around a holiday season maybe, is something, I mean, we talked a little bit about that and your experiences and how you didn't bring up and mention, oh, I remember when I was 7 and I got a toy truck. You didn't mention that. You talked about how you felt at that season. And I think if we all look back, we can remember how we felt about Christmas or about any other holiday or even just our time in general with our parents much, much more than we can remember a toy or a gift that was given to us. And so understanding that as parents is paramount in our decisions as to what do we give to our children. Do we give them a toy or do we give them our time and allow them and help them to grow into the person that they need to be?
And spoiler alert, parents, you give them your time. I'm telling you from, well,
right.
That's it. I mean, it would be hard to have an argument of someone that says they'd rather have gifts than
right.
the affection and time from their loved ones.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know that everybody's a little different.
Sure.
And some people, that is how, I mean, I've heard of those 5 love languages, and gift giving is a part of that. And you need to understand who the people in your life are, whether that's your parents or your children or your friends or whatever. If they feel affection and they feel love through the giving of gifts, then make sure that that's a priority, whether you feel that way or not. If that's, you talk and you find out by talking to people. I think that communication is really important. That's why I wanted to come here and talk with you and to do this in a live personal situation versus even just over the phone. This allows us to communicate in a very special way, and communicating with people is so important. In an age of technology where it's so easily to distribute thoughts and ideas around the world very quickly, sometimes that communication gets lost. Communication being a two-way street, something that we do together. You cannot communicate on your own. You can only express yourself. But if you're with somebody, you can communicate. And so you communicate and talk and discuss what it is to somebody else, how they feel loved, how they feel important in your life, and give that gift to them. Whether that's spending your time with them or giving them a physical gift or doing service for them, a little combination of everything.
And how, because the communication is so important to you, Santa, like how are you even able to have, because I know you take time to speak to children and I know you make time to go out to these events, like how do you do all of this?
I have lots of helpers all around the world. I have lots of helpers between the elves but mostly parents. Parents are what makes it possible for me to do what I do. It's them sharing their time and their love that makes it possible to spread that Christmas cheer around the world. And so, but also it's a matter of priorities. I make sure that I set the time. I mean, right now, there's busy things happening, and even though it's only 169 days until Christmas, which is less than half the year, we're almost there, it's sneaking up on us, it's still important to take the time and to spend, to listen to people. And so I don't have any more time in the year or even in a day than anybody else does, but I understand the importance of the time that I have. And so I take that opportunity to listen and to share with others.
I love that. Taking the time to listen and share with others. Such a big takeaway, such a big parental takeaway. Because a lot of dads, a lot of parents in general, but obviously we're chatting about the dadhood, so we feel like there's extra responsibility on our plate to maybe provide at a different level, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes we forget that providing at a very micro level is being present and sitting down and communicating and being there with our children and actually knowing what our children are doing.
Yeah.
Right? So what's your favorite thing, Santa, about interacting with kids?
The joy that it brings to them. When I have the opportunity to meet a kid, especially for the first time, and it sounds cliche, I know, but there's that sparkle in their eyes, and to see that joy and that sparkle is worth all of the work, worth everything that I do. And I know that, I guess to tie it into dadhood, I feel like that is the most important thing that you can do. I've listened to all your podcasts. I enjoy all of them, and I've heard that said before. You specifically will talk about that, about coming home after a hard day's work and just being exhausted. But when you see that look in your kid's eye of the happiness and joy that you can bring to them, it makes all the hard work worth it. And it's no different for me. Parenting, it's true, you're not going to get instant gratification most of the time as a parent. And so when we talk about that moment that makes it all worth it, that's probably not going to happen on a daily basis. It might not happen on a weekly basis. It might not happen on a yearly basis. But being a parent is not about instant gratification. It's about the long game. And you really have to invest in it to make it worthwhile. I mean, not to make anything too business-like, but I've actually was talking with some other friends of mine recently about land ownership, right? And I know of this property that just recently that somebody has had for 15 plus years, and they bought at a certain amount, and now it's worth 10 times that amount, right? It's about that long game. If you're going to invest in something, if you're a business person and you're investing in a business, I mean, you're starting out this car seats and coffee. How long have you been doing this?
Year and a half, almost 2 years.
And then you're making millions already, right?
No.
No. But you see the perspective of it and the importance of what you're doing. And so it's not about making the money or getting the fame right now. You're going to put in the time and the effort that it takes in order to get the final results. And that might be a year or 2 or 10 or 20. And the same is very true with children. You might not see the instant results, and that might be disheartening at first. But as long as you are there for them and you give them your love, then I want to say it will pay off. Unfortunately, I know that there are some people that may never see that exact payoff in their children, but know that it is there somewhere. That's really hard. I mean, I can't.
No, I love this, and I'm going to tell you what. 2 things. One, when you were saying that, dude, I mean, if the camera could see this, my skin, chicken skin, goosebumps, whatever the heck you want to call it, lit up. That message I've been hearing a lot, the long game, when you said that. And the long game, I was seriously on a call yesterday with some very amazing individuals that are doing like a mentorship program that I'm trying to learn from, because I believe the power of like learning from others and being there, right? And these individuals talked about that long game, and they win it every day by putting in even the little efforts every single day. And it's like those little things. Literally, one built $1 billion business, and the whole time he's like, no matter how big I got, I hand wrote a letter to people just saying thank you, what a gift to be in your life. And he's like, it always came around, and I never did it for it coming around, but it's those little things. So it's like I equate that to parenting, that it's like, my kids may be annoyed. I know they're going to be annoyed. Dad, shut up. You've told me you love me 10 times already today. Yeah. But you know what? At the end of that long game, aka life, I will never look back and be like, I wish I told my kids I loved them.
Right.
No matter what they turn out to be or do or what happens in life, that long game will have been won from the affection that I try to put in every single day. Now, other elements we talked about are kind of out of our control, right? How the children grow up, what they do. There's a lot of things we don't control.
Yeah.
But viewing that long game Santa is such a win, and you can see it. And it's not from a monetary standpoint, to your point, like
right.
like this, all of this. If it was a multi-million-dollar company, and I didn't have a chance to sit down with you and all these other amazing dads, then I've lost. Like,
right.
Who cares?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure exactly where I was going to go with that. I think you bring up some good points. It's even if somebody else doesn't appreciate what you do for them, that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it, because sharing love makes you a loving person. It will make your life easier. Even if somebody else doesn't appreciate that, you will be happier yourself. I mean, you look at statistics and things, I mean, charity donations go up during Christmas season. People feel happier when they are able to give and to share what they have with other people. And it's regardless of what you get back, you get something back in yourself when you give and when you share and when you show love.
So Santa, you're basically saying don't wait till the holiday season to start giving. Give now if you can afford to, or if you.
Yeah,
and it's not just the money, right? Give your time.
Give your time. Give your service. Give your love to the world, and it will be returned.
Give your love to the world, and it will be returned. Like, wow. That's so good. That's so good. That is so good. Let's talk about right now up into the Christmas season. Like what things do you have to do, or what kind of habits does Santa have that get you prepared for the big moment?
The big moment. Can we talk about that? What is that?
So like moment? To me, like the big moment is like Christmas Eve is where I'm sure a lot of the people are going to say like that's your busiest day, right? I mean, we all know you're doing like tons of work in the background, but that's the big one. Are there habits that you have building up to that make it either easier for you or more magical that night, or like anything that like I'm just huge on habits right now, and I love like learning from amazing people.
Yeah, I mean habits. Yes, habits are very important, and it is something that we can control. What our habits are. If we don't control our habits will control us. And so I mean I've been doing this for a very, very, very long time, and it's important to stay focused on what you're doing and to not become overwhelmed by it. If I thought about Christmas Eve as a event, then it would be way too much. There is just too much to deal with, especially for just myself on one day. It is all the little things that I do every single day, that I get up and I get ready and I connect with those that are important to me, and I connect with my friends. Again, I don't do this myself. There's no way that I could actually do, even with all the magic in the world, I can't do Christmas Eve alone. It takes all of us. It takes the world to accomplish that amazing feat. And so it's important for me to get up and to make those connections and to recommit myself every single day to sharing that love and to accomplishing that goal. And the goal is not Christmas Eve. The goal is every day. It's those little steps that I take every single day. And so what are those habits that that I do. What does a day look like in the life of Santa Claus?
And it doesn't even have to be a day. It's just those little things. I mean, that advice in itself is creating the habit to connect every day.
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing.
Right? And the people that
the time that I spend with my elves, with my helpers around the world, that is so much more important than. It's not about getting up in the morning and having my cup of coffee and doing my yoga or doing these other things. I mean, it's important to do these things to help keep you on track, but it's that personal connection. I guess that would be the number one thing for me that's the most important all the time, is that personal connection. Because that is what gives me the motivation to do what I do. If I got disconnected and I wasn't a part of the world and I wasn't a part of people's individual lives and take the time to do this, or to meet with the children, or to do those sort of things, then why would I do anything else? What's the point of getting up in the morning and even having my cup and getting ready and getting dressed and building the toys and doing that time? What is the point of that if I don't know who I'm doing it for and feeling that love and that connection for people?
And that's so good. It's so good, because I think we have to realize that as fathers.
Oh, absolutely. As a parent, what do you do as a parent? You get up, you go to work, you get dressed, you get going, you go to work, you do whatever you do for X number of hours every single day. And are you doing it for the house? Are you doing it for the clothes? Are you doing it for the prestige that comes with that career? Or are you doing it for your loved ones? And that's the difference between, I don't feel like what I do is work, because I love what I do. I love every day because I know why I'm doing it. And it's not for me, it's for everyone else. And that makes it a joy to do what I do. And if you can find something in your life that you can do for others, then it will make it so much more enjoyable.
I love that. So I think a lot of dads out there, the transition into fatherhood, dadhood, it's challenging at times, because you had your own goals, your own ambitions, your own plans, and these little beings come in.
Right.
And if you say that you can't do it some days for yourself, I do challenge you to really step back and say those little nuggets need to be your why. And sometimes they will, it doesn't seem like it, but they will help you eventually get through your things. If you can see that spark in their eye, and you can see the momentum sometimes, because to your point earlier, it might be a year out, it might be a couple of years out before you see some of your hard work and stuff paying them off. But stay at it, my friends. Connect. That's why we're doing what we're doing. We're building a network of men who are proud to be fathers.
Absolutely.
Santa, we've gone so deep on some things. What I want to do right now is I want to have a little bit of fun, a couple more questions, because I also want to get to the live and allow some people to chime in and ask you some questions. But are you down to play this with me, Santa?
Yeah.
Oh man. All right, here we go. Do you know what? Katie, my amazing wife, for those who don't know who Katie is the one who got me this actually for Christmas, probably to this day.
That's right, it was Katie.
Yes. Well, we each get each other one little thing, and she got me this. You've brought me, you know me like anybody else, but when she got me this, it's so funny to say this, even with all the gifts I've received from you, which have brought so much magic and joy, this one, based off of what you said earlier, building connections, has brought more value. I would pay like 10 times the amount for a deck like this to be able to sit with my genuine, like my friends, my family, and get to know them more.
Yeah.
And like have those memories than any of like the majority of everything else I own.
Yeah.
So with that, not to go down that rabbit hole, but we are going to play the game of What's your word, Santa?
Okay, what's my word?
All right, I am going to, actually, because you're here, usually I just do this over the screen.
Sure.
I'm just going to fan these out. I want you to take one. Woo! Okay.
Do you want me to read it? Or
Yeah,
do you want to read
please.
it?
No, go ahead.
How are you making a difference in this world? I feel like that question is so obvious and yet so complex all at the same time.
Do you want to answer it? You want another one?
How?
I mean, most people understand what you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, you're bringing joy and love and magic to the world. So
I
you know
hope
what?
so.
You know what, Santa? Let's just put that one down.
I think it's a very appropriate question.
It totally is. But I think that it's like it's very easy for you to answer, and I want
Right.
something a little more challenging for you. So,
What is a defining moment in your life, and how did it impact you? That's a good one.
yes.
When I was still a young man, I had the opportunity to go with one of the leader of the fairies in the forest that I grew up in. He took me around the world and showed me what the world was like, because I could go into my whole backstory maybe for another time, but to suffice it to say, I was an orphan and I was found on the border of a magical forest, and I was raised by those magical creatures instead of being raised by my own parents. And I didn't know about the world outside of Brazil. And it was the day that I was taken out and shown what the world looked like. And of course, the world in many ways was very different back then. This was a very long time ago. But in so many ways, the world was the same. Humans were the same. Even though the technology has changed and the world looks different in a lot of ways, the human heart and the human condition was the same. And that was the most impactful and changing moment of my life, because it was then that I realized that there are so many people that don't have what I had. I had a loving family, and I wanted essentially for nothing. In a magical forest, I mean, I had everything I could ever dream of, and I didn't even know what that was until I went out and I saw the lack and the need and the want in the world. And seeing that changed me. And that is why I dedicated my life from that moment forward to giving to others.
Wow. I don't even know. Like, what podcast in the world are you getting access like this? Like, I'm blown away. This is my own show, and I'm just like, I feel like I'm a guest listening, and I'm getting so much value. I want to respect your time, Santa, because you are busy, and I'm so thankful that you came out. And I want to just follow up with one last question.
Absolutely.
What's the one piece of advice that you would give to fathers that are trying right now through not only these difficult times, but just in general to raise children that are even better than them?
Breathe. It can be very overwhelming to get caught up in the minutia of life and the drudgery. Take a moment, breathe, and move forward one step at a time. I mean, I think it goes to what we're talking about with Christmas Eve. If you look at the overwhelmingness of the end goal, then you'll get too bogged down. You just need to take one day at a time and know that tomorrow's a new day, a new fresh start for you to move forward and to keep on keeping on.
Love that. Just breathe. If you're listening and you're like me, the second he said that, I felt my body take that breath and relax a little bit, because it is difficult at times.
It is.
Santa, how do people follow you? I mean, you're so tech savvy these days, it's ridiculous. And I mean, can we just acknowledge how amazing you're looking? Like,
oh, thanks. yeah, things have, you know, I'd be remiss if I didn't change in some small ways with the world. And so, yeah, I'm more available than ever before. I mean, you can still always write me a traditional letter, and I always love getting a handwritten letter from the children. But you can also contact me in other ways. Instagram is one way. I do have an Instagram handle of a new Santa. I'm kind of starting fresh myself. So a.new.santa on Instagram. You can email me at anewsanta@gmail.com, or I'm also available on Facebook. So if you're interested, almost on any social media, on Twitter as well, A New Santa will help you find me, and you can send me a message through that. Email me. Just let me know what's going on in your lives. If you have questions or concerns, you want to write a Christmas list. If you'd like to meet with me, then I'm always happy, again, to make these connections, to find some time and to sit down with anybody.
That's amazing. Like, we are in such a, this is, oh man, I'm stumbling over my words here because it truly is a gift, the times that we're in right now with the technology and the ability to be able to reach out and to have an opportunity for my boys, who I want to have much better memories of holiday seasons with, to be able to reach out and chat with you is just, that's so priceless. And I'm excited for other parents to be given that same opportunity, and some of the time and the energy and that presence that you're willing to give children these days is just amazing. So I just want to say thank you, especially for the gift of coming out and being with me, which is such an honor right now. Santa, seriously, thank you from the bottom of my heart.
I think that what you're doing here, Thomas, is greatly important, and it's my pleasure to come out and to do what I can to help you in this endeavor, because it is an essential part of sharing love around the world.
Man, keep tuning in, my friends. Let's keep growing together, dads. Love you all.